Tuesday, November 27th, 5-game slate. What's going on, everybody? Laffy, how'd your Monday end up? Because it seems like everybody scored well.
Yeah, I think it was, my God, it legitimately felt like unless you had 350, you weren't doing that well. And that's on DraftKings.
The scores were monstrous on FanDuel as well.
Yeah, that's what happens when guys like PJ Tucker go for 30 plus and obviously Harden and Durant go for around 80, we're 80 plus, and a lot of the values have, dropped big games as well. I mean, when you go balanced to get away from the stars and scrubs, you're hoping that the scrubs don't do well.
Yep.
That wasn't exactly the case. The scrubs did do well, so I guess it really depends on which side you played. Like George or Rodney Hood had, I think, like 29, 30 fantasy points, and most of the cheap guys put up games that are going to carry you if you have a bunch of the guys, or even one or one player above 11K. But it's funny too, though, because like Kyrie had 58, 59. There were even a bunch of the 8K, 7K guys put up monster games, but it was really the Harden and Durant show yesterday, and hopefully just built everything around them.
Yeah, they were the ticket to the top, that's for sure. Didn't really see both of them going bananas like they did, but here we are.
Yeah,
when it
and
happens,
then of course,
it's really difficult.
Yeah, and of course, you get a Giannis game where, once again, he's kind of the odd man out. Even though you look at this game, you're like, well, he was one assist shy of a triple double. He had 20, 13, 9, 3, and 1, which isn't exactly garbage, but compared to Harden and Kevin Durant, that did not get the job done.
No, not so much. I'm not gonna lie, this slate is it's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's not good.
No,
it's another Tuesday slate.
Yeah, I guess Nuggets Lakers is the crown jewel.
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever that means.
A little Phoenix action in there, that could be interesting. But I gotta tell you, man, the Pacers, who they're facing today, it's in Phoenix. The Pacers have made life miserable for me this year because I feel like every single game they are involved in is a blowout. Whether they're winning in blowout fashion or getting blown out, it legitimately feels like every single game the Pacers play is a blowout. I swear. I mean, yesterday, blowout. Starters were out by the start of the fourth quarter. They got blown out by San Antonio. They got blown out by the Hornets. They blew out Utah the game before that. Yeah. I kid you not, man. They've played so many games where the margin of victory or loss is by like 15 plus points.
It's insanity. They've been a really weird team this year.
Yeah.
I think they're good. Really they need another piece somewhere. I don't really know what that is. I don't know. It's the Pacers, so ultimately it really doesn't matter. Sorry, yeah. Indiana.
I'm looking at it now. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games decided by 10 or more, by double-digit points.
What's their plus minus right now? If I can get to it quickly.
My guess is like plus. You mean their net rating or their plus minus?
Their net rating. They're plus 4.2 on cleaning the glass, 7th in the league. Didn't realize their defense was 5th right now.
Yeah, they don't have. Corey Joseph's getting a lot of run. Thad Young's not a bad defender. Miles Turner gets ripped on a lot for his defense, but he's not a bad defender. He gets ripped on, like he's a good shot blocker and a rim protector. So it's not like he's a liability out there. And Oladipo's scrappy enough,
Yeah.
So it makes some sense. But yeah, 4.5. I have him as 6th. Right up there with the Warriors and the Thunder.
What a weird top end of this. Charlotte right above them, the Clippers right under them. There are some.
Well, you want to talk about weird top end? Have you seen the standings in the West recently?
Are the Clippers still doing really well?
Yeah, Clippers are leading the West.
Yeah, 13-6. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I get it. I mean, they are a team built perfectly for the regular season.
What's crazy though is that you look at from last year to this year, the Rockets, the Jazz, are 13th and 14th and 13th respectively in the conference. 14th and 13th. The Spurs, for the first time in quite some time, are on the outside looking in. The Timberwolves are 10 and 11. The Pels are 10 and 11. The teams that you have right now in playoff position, the Lakers, the Kings, the Clippers in the one spot, the Grizzlies at 12 and 7. It's really crazy. Like it's real. Everything's going to get shaken up. You know that you'll look at this this same time next month, and things will have changed. But there's been just an amazing amount of disappointing teams this season, particularly in the West. Because in the East, the Hawks, the Cavs, the Bulls, the Knicks, the Heat, the Nets, all of those teams not in the playoff or not right now outside of the top 8. No surprise. The only surprise and disappointment in the East has been Washington, but hell, a lot of teams have looked bad in the West.
It's a weird conference right now. It's Let me pull up the standings so I have it. I just have all the net rating stuff. Like the Rockets being 13th, the Jazz being 14th, the Pels 12th. It's the Kings being in at 10 and 10. The Spurs are, I don't know what to make of the Spurs.
The Mavs are 500.
They were. I was listening to Nate Duncan and Danny LaRue this morning talking about how Otto Porter would look on the Spurs. It'd probably be fantastic.
Yeah,
he's such a Spursy guy.
He's a good player, but he's also, his contract is also pretty intense.
Yeah, it grows a bit.
Yeah,
he's getting a couple shekels over the next few years.
I mean, next year he gets $27 million, $28 million the following year. He's an unrestricted free agent in 2021, but 4-year, $107 million contract. That can make negotiations interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you're not winning even if they do get Otto Porter. Like I'm seeing, like DeRozan, Otto Porter, LaMarcus Aldridge. That's not winning shit.
No. Rudy Gay, like it's not a bad core of players at all.
No.
The problem
is, they'll smack teams in the regular season.
Exactly. The problem is they're just not bad, right? Like they'll be good enough to, like you said, get in at a 6 or 7 seed, maybe an 8 seed. But Otto Porter is not pushing you. He is not going to push you over the top. I mean, they just barely edged out the Bulls yesterday. This isn't the greatest team right now.
Certainly not. Only team in the league with a win streak longer than 3 games right now. The Raptors, 5 straight. Nobody's lost more than 4 straight. No crazy stretches right now.
No, the Raptors are outstanding though.
They really are. I got to plug a promo quick. So we had some issues to start with the Cyber Year promo code on our end. So what we're doing is extending it one more day. So in case you missed it for Cyber Monday, Cyber Year still available. You get 12 months for the price of 10. This code only works for the premium all access annual package. It will not include Fantasy Cruncher. You are welcome to add Fantasy Cruncher as an add-on for yourself. There's just no discount for it. But one day, it ends today. Cyber Year, 12 months for the price of 10. It's the if you're signing up, people are always looking for where you enter the promo code. It's basically the last step before you hit complete. It'll ask you for your name, the promo code, and then you would click OK, and that would create your account. But that is where you want to enter the promo code. So if you're not seeing it to start, it's because it's basically the last thing that you will do before you submit the transaction. Cyber Year, one big word, 12 months for the price of 10. Want to break down these 5 games?
Let's get it done, man. Talk a little Andre Drummond here.
Yeah, that's where we're starting. The solo 7 o'clock game. The Detroit Pistons hosting the New York Knicks. 113.75 implied total for the Pistons. 106.75 for the Knicks. So Pistons 7-point favorites at home. You said it. We're starting with Drummond. 10-6 on FanDuel. 9-6 on DK. I mean, he is pretty clearly one of the 2 best center options of the day. We'll get to the other one quite a bit down the line, but I love Drummond here. Who slows him down on New York?
Nobody does, right? Donovan Mitchell either gets in foul trouble or quits, and Mitchell Robinson. So
I was like, dude, I don't know Mitchell, who you mean right now.
Donovan Mitchell guarding Andre Drummond would be something I'd pay the price of admission for. Mitchell Robinson, it's still early for me. Mitchell Robinson is going to find himself in some trouble.
Yeah.
And Enes Kanter is, I don't really need to explain. We know what his deal is. Look, the Knicks allow a top 5 shooting percentage at the rim this season. In terms of efficiency allowed to opposing centers, they are allowing top 5 marks, which should not come as a surprise to anybody. And then opponent rebounding, they're also allowing top 10 marks. And that really all just depends on how many minutes Kanter gets, right? If the more minutes Kanter gets, the better you're going to do rebounding. But at the same time, he's such a porous defender that it doesn't matter. And Drummond's going to get his anyway, because you look at Andre Drummond and you go to NBA stats and you look at rebounding under the tracking page, and you say, okay, rebound chances per game. So how many opportunities is Drummond getting per game? 23.1, right? And the crazy thing is he's hauling in 70% of those per game.
That's insane.
Like for example, Joel Embiid is second in rebound opportunities this year with 22.8, and he's been rebounding like a monster too. But he's only bringing in 58% of them. Whiteside 63%. Steven Adams, 48%. Tristan Thompson, 54%. You get the point. 70% for Andre Drummond. Not only is he leading the league in opportunities, but he also has one of the best, we'll call it, conversion rates on those opportunities. It's really incredible.
Yeah, he's really, how old is he now?
25? Like 25. Yeah, I was going to say 25.
What an interesting career. I feel like he's been in the league forever and he's still just crazy young.
Yep. He's 25. You could see, I remember 2 years, or was it last year, saying this will be the year Drummond has 15 games of 2020. Well, it didn't exactly come to fruition, but I think I was on the right path.
Yeah.
Because I think you get that this year. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He has one with 19. Doesn't count, but close. 5, 6. He already has 6 games, 6 2020 games. He could easily put up 15 of them this year.
Oh, yeah, without question. I mean, he just lives for that sort of stuff. I mean, that's like he could end up putting up, 4 or 5 blocks in one of those games and just have an absolute monster.
Yep.
Knicks 30th in effective field goal percentage this year. So Pistons are 25th. Going to be plenty of missed shots to go around and corral that shit when both teams are in the bottom 6 in shooting.
Outside of Drummond, though, you look at this Detroit team. I mean, yeah, obviously you have Blake Griffin, but I on DraftKings specifically, where they're $300 separated, just give me the man child. Give me Andre Drummond. That it just makes too much sense. Do you have interest in the rest of this Detroit team? Like, I mean, Reggie Jackson is cheap. I get that he's cheap. I don't know.
I'm getting a lot of Reggie Jackson right now.
Yeah, I figured that would be the case, just based on his price point in the matchup.
I'm not happy about it.
No, if you were, we'd have to have a discussion.
Yeah, he's played 30 plus minutes in the last 2 after not playing that sort of time lately. It seems like they're really sticking to a 4-man core of Blake, Drummond, Reggie Jackson, and then Bullock, which I don't know what to make of that really. But it's good if you want to play Reggie Jackson. I'm a fan. I don't really have any. It's not like the Knicks make me nervous defensively, so I'm going to probably have a decent amount of Reggie Jackson. I got more than what we're projecting the public for. Drummond, Blake, and Reggie Jackson, though, are the only guys that are coming up with any sort of volume. Reggie Bullock for 4,100 on DK, though, looks like a pretty interesting value play on a 5-game slate. If he's going to keep getting 30-something minutes, like he might shoot his way into it.
And and that's exactly what he'll need to do, right? Like Reggie Bullock is not going to, win you a slate by giving you a few, or by crushing it in the peripheral department. He's going to need to score, and it's not that he can't, but he's a streaky player for sure. Streaky's not the word for it. He's just not that good.
Yeah, that's a good word for it, though.
Right, and I'm hardly knocking the guy. What I'm saying is he's not going to come out there and get a ton of opportunities each game. Basically, what you get from Reggie Bullock is your 8 to 11 field goal attempts per game. You better hope he hits 50+% of them. And if he does at 4,100, you should be in okay shape. But he's not a good rebounder. No. He's seeing like 3 potential assists per game, and that's on a good night. If you get your hands into a couple passing lanes, a few steals, it's definitely possible that Bullock can have a game. It's not like we haven't seen him drop 30 fantasy points before. We saw PJ Tucker do it yesterday, right? Got off to a hot start, fell into, and that's what happens with these guys. You know this. They'll fall into some rebounds. They'll fall into some assists when they're to assist when you're moving the ball around. You're just rotating the ball around the perimeter, and you're lucky enough that the guy you pass to next shoots. Like, yeah, that's all it is, right? And that's how it is with Reggie Bullock too. Like if he falls into a couple rebounds on 3-pointers that hit the front of the rim and shot out to the perimeter, we're in business.
The piece that's standing out to me, and this is sliding off of Reggie Bullock a little bit, the Knicks are 22nd in, let's say, defensive rebounding. The Pistons are second. It's all lining up here for just an absolutely monster Drummond game. He might be one of my favorite. He might be my favorite play of the day. Just like Knicks defense is bad. No one can stop him. He can fill the stat sheet. I'm starting to really talk myself into a lot of Drummond.
Oh yeah, and when I pulled this slate up last night, you know how sometimes someone will just catch your eye.
Yeah.
Certain player, you just do a quick, take a cursory look. I think actually when I jumped on with you today, before we went, I was like, "Yep, well, you got Andre Drummond." It's kind of feels like one of those days where, unless he gets in foul trouble, which the matchup isn't important for Drummond when it comes to foul trouble. He just does or doesn't, unless it's Joel Embiid, and that's serious.
Yeah.
He just does or he doesn't. But what's spectacular about Drummond, and then I'll shut up on him because we got a few games to get to here.
You're good.
Amazing about Drummond is you look at his minutes this year. He's playing the same minutes, 33.7 minutes per game. That's awesome for a center. But field goal attempts, he's averaging 15.5 per game. That's 4.2 more than he did last year. That's huge. But what's also incredible is that his field goal percentage, which should be the case because he takes so many shots from right around the rim, is exactly the same as it was last season. And then his true shooting, that should surprise nobody, has actually, I think it's gone up because where is it? Because it factors in free throw shooting. So it should have gone up, which only helps you more. And then his rebounding is where it was last year. Assists are down, but that's an obvious reason as to why, because Blake Griffin's playing the entire season with them now, and he's still blocking shots. But you look at all of his other statistics; they're all the same, outside of like 1.5 fewer assists per game. That blame it on Blake. That's fair. but his point totals are up by almost 5 a game, and he's shooting almost 5 more. He's taking almost 5 more shots per game, and taking more free throws per game. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, his free throw percentage went down. I was thinking this was the first year he improved it. It was last year he improved it, but you get the point here.
Yeah, he started stroking last year.
Yeah, and he's just been he started stroking. He really used virtual reality goggles or whatever to learn how to take better free throws.
That's kind of cool, right?
Yeah, sure. Like,
have you ever
I was
with those, by the way?
I haven't, but I wanted to know, was he doing it in his living room or was he actually like at a basketball court?
I mean, I would assume he was in his living room or like, at a team facility or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm sure Drummond has plenty of space to like sprawl out in his own living room.
Right. Right. Yeah. He's sitting there like eating his cereal with, every couple bites, jacking a fake shot up.
And then playing Fruit Ninja or some shit.
Right. Right. But you're talking about a guy that's averaging 1.42 fantasy points per minute across 34 minutes per game. Yeah, I look at that and say he's still too cheap at 9,600 on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Or still very affordable.
Yeah, it's a solid price on DK. I don't mind the 10-6 price tag on FanDuel, at least not on a 5-game slate in this particular matchup. So,
yeah.
I don't have much else to say, though. I guess we didn't even really touch on Blake. He's kind of just there for me today. He's 9,800 on FanDuel, 9,300 on DK. Whatever I get, but he's not someone that I'm focused on.
No, I did mention him, just in that he's fine. I don't know how much I love him, though. I don't think he's crazily overpriced. He's not. It's a fine price point. But even though there's only 5 games, you still have a bunch of players that are worth looking at. Like LeBron James against Denver. We'll have to talk to him, and he's fallen below 11K. I'm using DraftKings pricing here. 11.2 on FanDuel, though, is cheaper than he's been. And then you have Drummond. So really, I like Griffin, but I just like Drummond more. So
yeah,
I'm not going to pretend that I love Griffin when Drummond, in my eyes, is just a better play and a more reliable play, quite frankly.
I agree. I would rather Drummond than Blake. I mean, it's only $800 price difference on FanDuel. That's nothing crazy. Right. $300 gap on DK makes it even easier. There's just especially more ceiling for Drummond, I think.
Yeah, and honestly, I think there's a high. I don't like to say higher floor with Drummond because of the foul trouble, but like say Drummond doesn't get into foul trouble, he could have a pedestrian game where he scores only 10 points and still have 50 fantasy points. And it's not to say Blake can't do that, because he's a good facilitator and such, and he's rebounding at a quality rate this year. But it does feel like Drummond, as you're saying, I don't know if ceiling would be my word, but Drummond has been producing more big games than Griffin this year.
Yep. We're on the same page there. Want to talk about the Knicks?
No, but I will.
Okay. Talk me off of this one. 7,000 for Tim Hardaway, 6,500 on DK. He's basically hitting my ownership caps. I'm just getting an absolutely overwhelming amount of Hardaway. It's terrifying to me because I don't ever trust him. He's very much a GPP guy, but he's gonna gun, and he's like the only one that I think is impervious to weird rotations. So I'm gonna have some Hardaway just because there are a very limited amount of options at shooting guard, unless you're really into guys like Garrett Temple or Monty Morris.
Look, if you wanted someone to come in here and talk you off of Tim Hardaway, you got the wrong guy, because I always play Tim Hardaway when his price comes down, because once again, it all comes back to opportunity. It all comes back to volume. When we're a month and a half into the season and you still have a 30% usage rate.
Yeah.
It's 29% usage rate. I'm not ignoring you. I can't. And 6,500 on DraftKings is actually pretty insane. 7,000 on FanDuel is cheap. I know the guy's had a few bad games, but that's going to happen.
He's 16 of 50 in his last 3 games from the field.
Oh, that's beautiful, huh? that's some rough shooting.
He was against the Pelicans. He went 2 for 15 from the field. He was 0 for 12, I believe, to start. I was watching some of the game too, and he was stepping into everything. It was just
brutal.
Clang. Brutal. It wasn't like in and out type stuff. He was missing brutally, like a bad pickup dude.
But that's the thing about shooters, man. They're still gonna shoot, number one, and number two, all it takes is one game to get him back on track. Look at Klay Thompson's start to the season before he erupted for 14 threes against the Kings. Look at Eric Gordon, who over his first however many games was just utter dog shit.
Dreadful.
And then just terrible. And then he comes out over his last 2 games and he's shooting the lights out, right? He's shooting above 500 or above 50% in both of those games. He's 20 for 39 over his last 2 games with a combined 64 points, right? This is a dude that on the season is shooting, I don't know what, 33%. And that's buoyed by last night and the night before's production. So I could go on with a bunch of players in that respect, right? But Tim Hardaway is going to shoot. He's still going to operate with heavy usage. He's still going to be the go-to scorer on this team. And it's not like his shots can't fall against a Detroit backcourt defense that scares me none.
Yeah, not so much. Not a lot of fear in Reggie Jackson or Ish Smith or
hardly.
Let's see what Tim Hardaway Jr. is shooting this year. So he is at a crisp 49.4 effective field goal percentage. That is a 42nd percentile wing.
Yeah, but what about his shot volume?
Living in the mid-range. He's a 75th percentile long mid-range shooter from the wing. 18% of his shots coming from the area of the floor where you're looking to get away from it the most. Not only that, it's getting worse. Like last year, he was just middle of the pack and shooting a ton of long range, like non-threes. Now he's shooting more in the wrong spots. So fantastic. Way to grow with the game.
Yeah, not good. It's not. There was something called, I used to read it. It was basketball, something stats. There's a book on it. It's actually a really good
Basketball
book.
on Paper?
No. That's one that you should definitely read though. But they have a website as well, and they had a stat that they came up with that was called PISS, PISS. And it was basically, I can't remember what the abbreviation stood for, but it was essentially breaking down who took the most contested mid-range shots, which are the worst of all shots. Like the most ill-advised shot you can take in basketball is the contested mid-range shot, right?
I got it here. Basketball analytics book.
Yes, basketball analytics book. Yeah, that's it. What did PISS stand for?
I don't know.
Something SS is shot selection.
Yeah, it's on here as poor shot selection. I don't really know where the I is coming from.
Yeah, it was that. Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it was PISS.
Not gonna lie, that's the first time I've ever Googled NBA stat PISS.
PISS. I love it. Google's amazing though, isn't it? Like it popped right up. There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
But at the time, DeMar DeRozan led the league in that, which was no surprise. But it's funny because DeRozan was one of the guys that it didn't matter. He would score no matter what. But you take a lot of those mid-range shots, it doesn't do much good. The savior when it comes to Hardaway is he's also taking a career high 8.5 3-pointers per game. So he's mitigating it with that 3-point shot volume, and he's getting enough minutes to where I don't think it matters either. I'm with you.
Painfully ill-advised shot.
Yes. I love it. And they obviously they were joking a bit when they, with the acronym. It wasn't exactly serious, but I remember it being PISS. Yeah, and DeRozan led the league in PISS.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Painfully ill-advised shot selection. I love it.
Okay, so
that's a good article, by the way.
Oh, they've got a few here. They're a couple years old, but I'm going to dig into it. I don't remember ever reading it.
I'm telling you, the 3 for me, 2 for you article on the Warriors talking about how they would just give teams layups at the rim because they'll give you points because every possession they're attacking on an additional point on the 3-pointer than you are, and how it basically just made them so much better because they just be lax around the rim, get the ball back. Some really good articles on there. They do good research on basketball.
There you go. We talked about Hardaway. We probably need to talk about a couple other guys here for New York. Most of the pricing is better on DraftKings. What do you want to do with Cantor? 7,600 on FanDuel, 6,800 on DK. Been getting some extra minutes lately. Mitchell Robinson has not played more than 18 minutes in his last 5 games. 2 games he had 9 minutes played. Cantor, 41 in the last one, 33 in the game before that. It feels like Vonleh, Cantor, and Hardaway are the guys that are going to be locked into heavy minutes here. And then it's a crapshoot on which point guard do you think is going to be good today.
Yeah, pretty much.
I would say this fits Burke and Moutier relatively equally in that Detroit's backcourt defense isn't anything special. So as long as they're both aggressive, you're just trying to find the guy that's making buckets.
Exactly. That's all it comes down to, but it's difficult. This is the book, by the way, Basketball Analytics.
There you go.
Very good.
There you go. Yeah, it was on the screen.
Recommend it to anybody. Yeah. I got Basketball and Paper down here, the one you mentioned. That's like a book everyone should read.
Yeah, I have it around here somewhere. I do have the book, the baseball.
Oh yeah, that's a great
around here.
Dude, that's a great book. That is a phenomenal book.
I used to have that on one of the shelves. I don't know. There's too much crap in my office now. Bongs everywhere.
That book changed my view on baseball entirely, though. I'll tell you that much.
It used to just sit on top of the crapper at my parents' house, and I would go in and read like 15 pages, and then got every single day. That and Mick Foley's first autobiography.
Love it. Okay, let's get on with the Knicks because I can't do this anymore. Enes Kanter, I think he's always a good value option, or not value option, mid-range option.
Yeah,
he's super volatile. You don't play the guy in cash, but he just has a monster ceiling because he's such an outstanding rebounder. He's way higher than than 1 fantasy point per minute, which should be expected. By the way, he's averaging only, this is amazing, 27 minutes per game, and he ranks 6th in rebound chances per game. That's insane, given that his minutes are so much lower than all of the other guys there. So anyway, I think Enes Kanter is a good tournament play here.
Sure.
And what's that?
I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Noah Vonleh's price has come up. I'm perfectly happy fading Vonleh here. I think I don't like predicting foul trouble, but I actually think this could be one of the spots where he gets in a bit of trouble with Memphis and Drummond in that front court. Plus, he's a lot more expensive now, and I don't expect another 40-plus fantasy point game. He came back down to earth against Memphis. He might get like 25 from him here. It's not going to do it for me. You already talked about Hardaway, and I think Hardaway point per dollar wise is probably your best option here from an upside perspective. And then between Moutier and Burke, honestly, who the hell knows? Right now, Moutier is riding the hot hand.
Yeah.
And it makes me pretty much want to do this. Whenever one of these guys is riding the hot hand, I feel like I have to play the other one because we saw what happened with Burke when he was mega chalk the other day. It can happen. We know that, we just know that we just know Dave Fizdale does that. So there's really no predicting it. You kind of just have to take the contrarian view here and play the guy that everyone isn't playing, because it seems like they have as good a chance as anybody as doing what the guy that everyone's playing is doing or expected to do.
Yeah, I was actually watching the end of that Knicks game. I don't really blame Fizz all that much. Moutier just started playing really well. He was being really aggressive. He was being successful, taking it to the rack, and he should have stayed in the game. I totally understood why it was happening. I wasn't mad that I had a ton of Burke that night. I wasn't mad because you just can't take a dude off the court that's keeping your team in the game.
Totally agree, but that's why I use the term hot hand.
Oh yeah. So this is going to be what you'll want the most. We're expecting Trey Burke's ownership at 19% on DraftKings. What do you think Moutier's is?
Mm, let's see that Moutier's 45. Okay, so same price. I honestly have 0 idea what Moutier's projected at. Because he's been better lately, I'll say 30.
1.
No, come on.
1.
1%.
That's what we have it in there for right now.
That's crazy.
How many minutes
guys,
does he play? If it's 20, you don't want him. If it's 29, then you do. It's like
yeah, I mean, he's jacked up 30 shots over his last 2 games. He's been a lot more involved.
I expect it to rise. Don't get me wrong. I would expect Burke to slightly drop, Moutier to rise a little bit. But if Burke is going to be double up on Moutier's ownership, I think it's just easier to go to Moutier and hope for the best.
Yeah, fair enough. And by the way, I've always said I'm not good at predicting ownership. Clearly not my strong suit. But with Moutier, I didn't think that would be the case. I'm looking, by the way, to see what the last 2 games look like for this team, and Moutier, in terms of touches, he's touching the ball a lot more than Burke, but really it's just because as you mentioned, he got hot, he looked good. Why not keep him out there? It makes sense. And then in terms of passing, in terms of assist opportunities, you're gonna see the exact same thing. He's seeing more potential assists over the last couple of games, but that could change on the drop of a dime, so I don't really know.
I'd actually like to play Burke and Moutier on DK. I think they're both underpriced. Burke 6,100 on FanDuel, only 47 on DK. Moutier 5,700 on FanDuel, only 4,500 on DK. So they're not two guys that I would really want to have much of on FanDuel, but on DK, it works.
In the same lineup, or
no, I can't. That would be a really difficult sell for me.
Yeah, me too. If you set a group, though, like just at most 1.
Yeah.
Or on a 5-game slate, hell, maybe you wanna get frisky and say, exactly 1 on Cruncher, you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't it would be really surprising to me if both Burke and Moutier were able to hit, 6+X in the same game.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You would need a lot of just positive shooting luck. They'd both have to really play well, not even so that they can both get the opportunity. Too much has to go right for that.
It's not a good idea, just based on minute sharing alone.
Sebadiah not really happy with us. You don't attack Detroit with guards. This whole convo is besides the point. That's not even how you write that sentence, but okay.
Wait. Well, why don't you want we want to attack Andre Drummond at the rim instead?
Yeah, it's apparently.
Why don't that's a little confusing to me.
Yeah,
don't
the guards for the Pistons are really bad defensively? That is the spot that everyone attacks them, no?
It doesn't even matter though, because it's a simple price point thing. You're looking for value. What this is the thing. I wouldn't care if it was against the Utah Jazz, if you're 4,500 and you might get 29, 30 minutes and take 15 shots with the ball in your hand for most of the game. It doesn't matter to me. Like Matt, what's besides the point is matchup.
Yeah.
Serious. When you're at that price point. Yeah, if Burke was 7K, we'd be having a different discussion here. We wouldn't be talking about him at all. It's unfortunate because I didn't want to talk about this game anymore, and now I got reeled back into it. But look, what's besides the point for me is matchup at this point, because it's a game that has a 7.5-point spread, but I think the Knicks keep this game competitive. I'm not a believer in the Pistons as a team, and they're cheap enough to where if you have Burke or Moutier, right? Mind you, Burke he's attempted 20 shots or 15 or more shots in 4 of his last 5 games. And then Moutier's attempted 30 over his last 2. We don't know which one it's going to be, but I can assure you that if one of these guys is out there for, let's say, 30 minutes, like we've seen from Burke, 29 minutes, and he attempts 15 to 20 shots at 4,700, it wouldn't matter if he was playing the Western Conference All-Stars.
Right.
That's not. You get my point.
Yeah. This person is also saying that they aren't values anymore, which is ludicrous to say for DraftKings.
I don't understand.
I agree. They're probably not that great a value on FanDuel, but they're $4,700 and $4,500 respectively. One of those guys has to play today.
So if you were to just take Trey Burks, and I don't like doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you were to take Trey Burks' production over his last, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Okay.
Yep.
He's averaging 33.3 fantasy points per game. If you were to take that at 4.7, okay, at 4,700 divided by 33, that's still 7 times his salary.
Yep.
And that's just the average production, right? Because he's had a couple, 28, 29 games. He's dropped a 41 in there. He's got a 59 in there. We've seen Trey Burke go for 40 plus. He's very capable of doing it. I'm not sure saying he's not a value makes a ton of sense. I guess it really depends on what your idea of value is. But yeah, Moutier just dropped 46. We're not saying that's going to happen again, but if he gives you 35 at 45, you are very, very happy. So
absolutely. Let's get out of this mess.
Yeah.
We'll go to a different mess. The Miami Heat hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Heat 113.75 implied total. Hawks 106.7. Just so everybody knows, that's not a typo. These lines were exactly the same when I entered them in before I started the show. They might have moved a half point either direction, but exact same line on both sides. $8,500 on FanDuel, $8,200 on DraftKings. Hassan Whiteside has not been on the court as long as you would like. I have no interest whatsoever in Hassan Whiteside here.
Yeah, so the foul trouble's been an issue. I also was wondering because we've seen some injury things, questionable this and that, then he isn't on the injury report. Like, is he a little bit banged up? Is he not at full strength right now? It's really hard to say. The truth is it's a really good matchup. Looking at last game, he was in foul trouble.
Yeah.
This is tough for me because Whiteside has so much upside. Now the problem is if let's say his price was down at like too bad, coming off a bad game, no one's interested and he's 7,500. I would have a ton of interest in Whiteside. But I'm looking at this game. He had only one foul in the first quarter, played 7.5 minutes. And then 2 personal fouls, boom, first 2 minutes of his second stint. So he lost, let's see, he lost about 5 minutes in the second quarter. And then another personal foul, 2.5 minutes into the third quarter, never came back in. And that game looked like it was over. They were down by 26 when Whiteside came off the court. So yeah, they got it back within like 8 or so, but the average lead in that game was 10. It's weird that he didn't come back in, honestly, but I think looking at this game, and Adebayo is playing well for what it's worth. Looking at this one, Whiteside, if he was a little cheaper, I would have a lot of interest in him just because at low ownership, he has so much potential to blow the roof off of it. But I don't know if you need to go here because it's not like he's that much cheaper than Andre Drummond. And it's always a deep position. We'll talk about Jokic against the Lakers shortly. It's tough to get there, I think, when we don't know if he's playing fully healthy and center is still deep as it always is.
It's not even just Drummond. He's $600 cheaper than Nikola Jokic. Like,
you mentioned Jokic, yeah.
Wait, I thought you said Drummond.
I said Drummond. I said we'll talk about Jokic, who's 8,800. But yeah,
I was busy refreshing this to check and see what Jokic's price was on DK to make that point. I didn't even hear you say it. My bad.
Unless I said Drummond twice, but I was staring at Jokic.
I'm just a moron. It's early. It's Tuesday. It's 10 o'clock. I've had 2 things of coffee, and it feels like I didn't even have a drop. I didn't even go to bed late. Yeah, I can't trust Whiteside's minutes right now.
No.
It's If I'm going to play around and guess on minutes for the Heat, I'm going to do it and play Bam at 4,500 instead.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to touch this game at all in terms of the front court here for Miami. I I just don't understand why Eric Spoelstra hates him so much. I know that he
I mean, there's
doesn't.
probably a really good reason for it. I
Yeah,
don't
there
get the sense
probably
that
is.
Hassan Whiteside is like a great dude.
No, I don't get that impression either, at all. He had 2 personal fouls in the game before that in his first stint, so he only played, 6 minutes, and then he comes back out, plays 10 minutes almost the 3rd quarter, and then never comes back in the game in what was a very, very close game. So, I don't know, they went with Bam Adebayo here. They went with Adebayo, and he closed out the game. He played 15 straight minutes to close out the game with Winslow, Richardson, Magruder, and then Ellington came in for Dwayne Wade. I don't know. That's a little concerning for sure.
It must be really weird for Spoelstra to start your coaching career. It's LeBron and Wade and Bosch and like all these guys are they're going to work on their own. Like they don't have to light a fire under those guys to like get shit done. And then you transition to someone like Whiteside, who's been like a perpetual pain in the ass for a decade for any coach that he was playing for. Gotta be oh my God, it's like night and day. No wonder he hates him.
And he got Whiteside on his roster after. So Whiteside was basically banished from the NBA when he was with the Kings, sent somewhere else overseas, comes back, and that's when Chris Bosh went down with injury. All of their bigs got hurt, and Spoelstra had no choice but to play Whiteside. There is a very real possibility that Whiteside never played another minute in the NBA, but because of all those injuries, Whiteside was thrust into the starting lineup after triple doubling in 12 minutes off the bench, and Spoelstra couldn't, like, honestly, he did not want to play Whiteside, but he didn't have a choice anymore.
Yeah, he owes Chris Bosh a dinner or something.
Seriously. Everyone was clamoring for more Whiteside, and the guy got paid. But I'm with you. I don't see the need there. Quite frankly, with this whole game, Miami's a team I just despise playing. But guys like Justice Winslow,
Justice Winslow.
Yeah.
36% expected ownership on DraftKings tonight.
That's high. It's really high. But you know what? If he plays around 30 minutes, the Hawks are just a dreadful defense. But the biggest thing about this game, to me at least, again, matchup defense is one thing, but it's not the biggest thing. It's you look at pace too, and the Hawks lead the entire league in pace. Miami's also playing at a top 10 pace, but there's still a 5 possession differential per 48 here. 5 possessions almost, which is huge given that Miami's still top 10 in pace, Josh. So, you're still getting an up tempo or a big pace boost here. I thought the 221 total was actually low for this game.
Miami's like everybody but Whiteside and Richardson are just priced so well that it's hard to not fill out your lineup with some of the value here, whether that's Rodney Magruder for 4,900 on FanDuel. We mentioned Winslow for 4,200 on DK. I can see why he's getting that ownership.
James Johnson's just looked terrible, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's out of shape. I mean, he admitted it himself, too. He was like, it's going to take me a while to get into playing shape. It's like, Great. I think he has like a clause in his contract that he has to be under a certain weight.
Is that right?
I'm almost positive that that's the case.
Oh, he's got a propensity for eating donuts when he's not working out, I guess.
He does like the yum-yums.
Like an Eddie Lacy clause or something?
Something like that. I might be wrong, but I thought I heard that. We got Bam at 4,600 on FanDuel if you want to punt center and you believe in him getting 20-plus minutes here. Or additional run. If this game goes well for Miami, you got to assume that Bam is the guy that benefits from that. It's not like they're going to run James Johnson out there for extra minutes. He doesn't have it in him right now.
Where are you at on Wade?
He's a tough guy for me because he grades out in my stuff really well always because he's such a good per-minute performer. But I'm always nervous because I don't ever really expect him to like play big minutes. The times where he does seemingly come out of nowhere.
When he gets hot. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So,
that's really all.
People are talking about him in chat. He obviously went crazy in his last game. 5,500 on FanDuel, 5,300 on DK. It's a really nice price on a 5-game slate for Dwayne Wade. Like, it's not me chasing Wade. It's the same projection it would have been whether he went crazy in the last game or not. It's just really like, how many minutes do you think he plays? I don't get the sense that Wade is out there for much more than 25 minutes in a game against the Hawks.
I have no problem getting away from Wade here, honestly. Is he egregiously priced? No.
Yeah.
He's not crazily overpriced, but he's not exactly a steal. He's not a bargain. So.
If I get him, I get him. If I don't, I don't. I don't really care.
Right. That's really all it is. And Dragic is listed as out. We know that Tyler Johnson is also out. So minutes are gonna open up. Dwayne Wade, by the way, in his first game back, in case anyone was wondering, got in immediate foul trouble. He had 3 fouls in his first 2 or 3 minutes. So that was a clear outlier. It wasn't even like he was out this long and they didn't want to give him minutes. No, he had 3 fouls in 2.5 minutes or so. I think he finished -1 fantasy point in the first half, which was great because I had a bunch of him. But Josh Richardson, as you mentioned, he's priced reasonably. He's going to go out there, get the minutes. He's going to give you between 30 and 40, which is, I guess, okay, but it's really not. Although it is Atlanta. So I do still have some interest in Richardson. I think this could be one of those games where he has a solid game. You're getting a nice pace boost. So with him and with Wade, with all of these guards, more possessions to go around, more opportunities. Yeah. I think they're all in play. I'm just not – I think all of them are in play, not to cop out here, but I don't see any of them as priorities either, and that's kind of what makes this a difficult.
Yeah, they're all essentially the exact same play, just at a different price range. No one stands out to me except for Bam on FanDuel if you're a believer in the minutes. No one stands out as a great value. No one stands out as a bad value. They're all just kind of there.
Yep, exactly.
So, I don't know. You want to talk Atlanta?
Sure.
John Collins, 6,700 on FanDuel, 6,200 on DK. Appears that he's going to be playing, 30-ish minutes a night. He's a fantastic point per minute guy. Another guy where if I get him, I get him. If I don't, I don't.
I'm not paying much for him.
Yeah. I like the spot, I guess. I don't know. He's fine. He's fine. That's the only way that I can describe it. 21% expected ownership on FanDuel, though, is pretty healthy.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. Looking at the ownership, I have our ownership pulled up on awesemo.com, and I just have trouble getting there. I feel like John Collins, yes, he's a good per minute producer, or he has been in his, cup of coffee at the NBA level, but it's also kind of tough to gauge a ton from that when he's averaged 24 minutes per game. I feel, and by the way, he's basically right on the money, right on the button, right around just north of 1 fantasy point per minute.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, you get 31 fantasy points in 30 minutes, assuming he gets those 30 minutes, which he has in back-to-back games. I know he's coming off that 45 fantasy point game against Charlotte. Charlotte's a real bad rebounding team, or they don't have any quality rebounders, to be specific. Looking at his average production, it's tough for me to get there, and that's kind of what it comes down to for me.
Have you looked at ESPN finally posted their RPM ratings for this season? They have the big.
Good, huh? Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
nice of them.
There's a very interesting tidbit in those rankings. You know who's dead last in RPM right now? 470 something ish person.
Who's that?
It'd be Trae Young.
Is that right?
Absolutely flat dead last.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fucking bad.
Dead last in the league.
Dead last in the league.
Whew.
The part that scares me the most is that LaMarcus Aldridge is in spitting distance, which is not something I would ever expect.
That is
Trae Young. He's been worth negative 0.71 wins. He has a negative 4.86 RPM, just below. Well, not even just below. Pretty significantly below Mario Hezonja. I mean, like the bottom of this list is a who's who of guys that you would expect to be here. Jamal Crawford, Royce O'Neal, Chetty, Ian Clark, Josh Jackson, Blakeney, Kevin Knox, Hezonja, Trae Young, dead last. Aldridge, 406th out of 434.
That surprises me quite a bit.
Trae Young,
though, I don't know if it's that surprising for. I get it.
I understand why. He's a volatile 19-year-old point guard on a bottom 3 team.
Right. I mean, dead last is definitely surprising, but the funny thing, Trae Young's had some big games, but let's not overlook the fact that excuse me, this kid's shooting. The guy's shooting has not exactly been stellar, right? If you look at what he's doing, you see what he's shooting from beyond the arc this year. He's shooting 24% from 3.
That'll put you dead last, that's for sure.
24% from 3 on 6 tries per game. Like that's not going to help you out that much.
No.
So it's kind of tough when you look at this guy. Sure, we see so much through a fantasy lens, right? Like so much of everything we see is from a fantasy standpoint, and what can they do for us across this much work? But then you say, all right, well, they play at the fastest pace. They jack up a ton of ill-advised shots. They create a ton of possessions and rebounds for the other team and everything. So that's going to open things up more. The more possessions, the more assist opportunities, but also the more opportunities for the team they're facing. And when your whole team is shooting like terribly, well, I guess that makes sense. His true shooting percentage is 54%. So what's his EFG is his EFG effective field goal percentage is, where is he? Oh no, I'm sorry. His true shooting is 48%. His EFG is 43%.
Not good. Not good.
Only guys that are worse than him on the team are Jalen Adams, Tyler Dorsey, and Daniel Hamilton, guys that basically don't play. That's not good.
It's really, really, really not good.
Yeah, use EFG. Don't you if you don't use true shooting that factors in free throws? He's been dreadful. I wonder where he ranks among guys playing 20 minutes or more per game in the league. Where do you think Trae Young ranks in EFG?
I mean, he's a 10th percentile point guard, so it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be one of the worst, if not the worst.
He is. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Outside of like Jared Terrell and Daniel House.
I don't know who that first person is. I'm not kidding. I have no idea. Is that really a person?
Yeah, Jared Terrell, sorry. James Johnson. I won't even count him or Chris Dunn because they haven't played. Kevin Love's been out for a while. That doesn't count. Ryan Anderson. All of these guys, I'm not kidding. All of these guys outside of Lou Williams, who's down there, are guys that either never play or have been out for most of the season. Like if you were to take games played and bump it up to 15, this dude is wow. Okay, last one here. I've got to do it.
Okay.
I got to do it. So we'll have minutes at 20 or more and games played at 15 or more. Trae Young has the 8th lowest EFG in the entire league.
I actually would have thought it was lower than that.
Yeah, well, Frank Ntilikina is always going to be worse than him. That's just a fact.
Yeah, they're very different volume on those guys, too.
Right.
Trae Young probably taking 15 shots a game. Ntilikina probably taking 6.
Totally. If you bump it up to how many field goal attempts these guys are taking, that's going to change everything, right? That's going to change everything. You make it 10 field goal attempts per game, and then everything changes. Trae Young is second worst in the league behind Lou Williams. I know I keep adding filters, but his shot volume is so much higher than everyone else.
Dude, we've been on for an hour. This is game 2.
Yeah, we can move. I mean, what else do you have on Atlanta? Then we'll move on because I'm not going to have much on Memphis, Toronto. I
I
can tell
really
you
like
that.
Torian Prince today. 5,700 on FanDuel, 5,200 on DK. I will likely have a good bit of him. No, doesn't really have a lot of ownership on FanDuel so far, so he's a guy that I'm going to prioritize. I just kind of like this spot for him. If this game stays close, I think he's a part of it. So Prince is a guy that I'm looking at. Other than that, it's nothing sort of exciting. If I have any Trae Young, that's fine. It's all about opportunity. So keep hoisting, man. Every once in a while that shit's gonna fall, especially on a 5-game slate where I don't have time to just avoid him.
I'm with you. I pretty much at this rate, Torian Prince. Hope he gets 30+ minutes and jacks him up. He's the cheapest he's been in quite some time. Also, Dwayne Dedman. You got to at least throw Dedman into the mix because we expect Alex Len to play, but even when he last game, his minutes were down. He got in more foul trouble. You get 24, 25 minutes from Dedman. He's the type of guy that can give you good production at a very cheap cost. But
yeah,
really,
and that's mostly just DK for me. There's too many good center options on FanDuel to only lock in one. But when you can play more than one center, I like the idea of going to Dedman.
Dedman has power forward eligibility on DraftKings
even
too,
better.
Yeah.
I don't get the sense that we're going to have a ton to talk about here. The Memphis Grizzlies hosting the Toronto Raptors. Grizzlies 100.25 implied total, just a notch into the triple digits. Raptors 104.75. We'll start on the Grizzlies side. There's one guy I love, and then I don't really care about the rest of this, but I want Jaren Jackson, 7,100 on FanDuel, 5,800 on DK. I think that he is pretty clearly the best option coming from Memphis, so long as he can stay on the floor.
Jaren Jackson's my guy, man. You're not going to get a disagreement from me there.
Cool.
I've been kind of riding this wave all year long, and sometimes it crashes on my head because he gets in a lot of foul trouble, but I love the kid. I love his instincts. His shot blocking ability is absolutely absurd for a guy that's playing at the 4. If you just look at Jaren Jackson's block rate this year, it's insane. I mean, he's got an 8% block rate, an 8% block rate. Insane, dude. That's insane. And he's got a 23% usage rate. And J. Michael Green, unless Jackson's in foul trouble, isn't going to be siphoning away minutes from him because Jackson's getting back up 5 minutes behind Marc Gasol.
Yeah.
I don't like playing guys against Toronto, but it doesn't matter because the foul trouble could be an issue, no question. If they stick Jaren Jackson on Kawhi Leonard at times, which is a possibility, I don't think they will. But he is a good defender. He's a long wingspan, long arm defender, great instincts, but terrible decision making at times when it comes to fouling. He's a rookie, though. It happens with rookie big men, right?
Right.
Look at Wendell Carter Jr. Look at Mitchell Robinson. All these guys are getting in foul trouble early on, but he's just outrageously talented. I love that he can stuff the box score, and he can score. I love Jaren Jackson, but I can't pay that. I love Marc Gasol as a player, but I can't pay that much for him here.
He's
I know
$10K on FanDuel.
I can't do it.
No, neither can I.
Just give me Drummond at a $600 markup.
Yep.
Gasol at 89 on DraftKings isn't crazy, but this isn't the greatest matchup either. He's been good against tough matchups, but I still have a tough time going here for Gasol.
Gasol is $1,000 more expensive than Nikola Jokic on FanDuel today, and I have Jokic projected 6.5 points higher than him.
Right. How do you play? That's a great point. How are you playing? Even on DraftKings, where Jokic is $100 less than Gasol, it's tough to play him over Gasol.
Yeah, it's a no-go.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody else to talk about from Memphis outside of Jaren Jackson.
I don't think I do either. Mike Conley's price is up there now. I just wanted to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
I'm fine to punt on FanDuel with Garrett Temple, but 4,200 is still not even like an appealing price point.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson's the guy here. You're right.
Eric asks 40 probably low for Gasol, Josh. I don't know, but I can't imagine why. I mean, like maybe, but I mean that's
if you're
Marc Gasol. Like as far as samples go, he's got one.
He does. He does, and I
he's
know
been going nuts. 4 out of his last 5 games, 55, 55, 59, 63.
The thing about Gasol too is he's just been wildly efficient this year. I don't know how long that lasts. I'm not saying that he can't continue to be. It's funny because he's only shooting 46% from the field, but in terms of efficiency, I know some people don't like looking into the advanced statistics and stuff, but there were a few things that really caught my attention that concerned me with him. I won't take long on this, but I do want to explain it. Uh, Marcus Gasol this year, when you look at rebounding opportunities for centers, usually these guys that are this expensive are seeing like 18 plus rebound chances per game. He's at 13, which is lower than it's been for Gasol in a while. And kind of all of the numbers, when you look over it, as good as Gasol has been, suggest that he's due for a little bit of regression unless we start seeing those numbers tick up. Like defended field goals at the rim, it's very low. Yet his shot blocking recently has been very high, even though he is a good shot blocker. So something's got to give. It's going to swing one way or the other. I'm just not sure which way that's going to be because he also is a guy with his usage rate down almost 3% from last year. So something's got to give. I'm not sure which way it goes. And it could be good, it could be bad. And that's kind of how I've been viewing Gasol. But at 10K, I'm fine going to a $1,000 discount on Jokic and moving on to Toronto.
Yeah, he had 7 stocks in his last game. He had 5 in 2 of the other big games. I mean, that's just like you can't predict that. And that's going to be, I mean, if he gets 5, that's 15 fantasy points on FanDuel. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
I could not have any less interest in Marc Gasol at 10K.
He is a good shot blocker. He's always been great when it comes to grabbing like, a steal or 2 per game, but
yeah,
you're right. It's not something you can predict.
5
to give him
is a lot.
15 points. Exactly. An extra 16, 17, 18 fantasy points now.
So yeah, other than Jaren Jackson, I'm good on Memphis. Toronto, I'm probably good across the board. I mean, this game is just such a low total. Memphis dead last in my pace numbers. So Toronto in a very significant pace down spot. Kawhi at 10K.
Games.
You broke up a little bit there.
Both teams have a top 7 defensive rating.
Yeah, the Memphis is limited fantasy points per possession, 4% better than average. Raptors 3%. Like it's no sign of this makes me interested. I ran a crunch of 150 on FanDuel. The most that I got of a FanDuel guy or a Toronto guy was 2% of Kyle Lowry.
The only guy I would throw out there, we've
Siakam.
we've seen Nick Nurse starting Joe Val against traditional oversized centers or front courts. I could see Valanciunas start again, and he's done well against quality defenders, quality big men in the past. The only reason I'm mentioning Valanciunas is because if he does start and he does see like 27 minutes, his per minute production is so great that at $5,300 on DraftKings, I would still have some interest in him. 6K on FanDuel is okay. 53 on DraftKings if he starts. I don't have an issue with it. Clearly not a priority or a top play. But whenever Jovel starts and gets an opportunity to play upwards of 27 minutes at a cheap price, I do have interest. So that's about it.
I can't imagine him getting those minutes here. This is a terrible spot. Now that Marc Gasol is more of like a 3-point shooting center, I feel like Valanciunas just roasts him. Because it's not like Valanciunas is going to come down to the other end and just boss Marc Gasol. I think this is a really, really bad spot for Jonas.
It's a bad spot for him because you can't hide him on Jaren Jackson either.
Right.
And let Siakam do the work on Gasol, which probably wouldn't work either. But but at the same time, I said this the other day to Adam on the deeper dive. If he starts, and by the way, Marc Gasol, the 3-point shooting has been super erratic, but some days it's just like he knocks down all of them, and then the next day he misses all of them. But with Jovel, I still have the mentality that if he starts, then I will have some interest just because he is he is polished enough offensively that he could come out there and put up big numbers. Clearly a huge risk, but I'm just looking for something on Toronto because I don't. Other than that, I'm really just it's not a spot that I want to target. But I agree, not a good overall matchup for him. Uh, whether he's on Gasol or you would never put him on Jackson. But if you had like a J. Michael Green who doesn't shoot from range, then you could make sense of it. But yeah, that's not happening here.
No. You ready to move on?
Yep.
Moving quickly now.
Yeah,
Before we go further, just want to remind everybody, Cyber Year, one big word, promo code still active for today. We wanted to give everybody one last shot. 10 months, 12 months for the price of 10 if you want to subscribe. Cyber Year is the promo code you're looking for. Can't beat that deal. Access to every sport, all the projections, rankings, ownership projections, the whole Megillah. 12 months for the price of 10. Cyber Year. Let's move to Denver. Denver 109.75 implied total. Lakers 105.75. So 4-point favorites here for Denver. Nikola Jokic 9,000 on FanDuel, 8,800 on DK. He hit my ownership caps. He is projected to be 44% owned on DK, 36% on FanDuel. And I totally understand why. He's fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah, it's very rare that I have a guy projected to in like the top 12 point per dollar when he's almost $9,000. But that is the case with Jokic today, and I think for good reason. It's a very good matchup. He got in some foul trouble last game, and that game got out of hand, so he wasn't really needed. That was what, against OKC? Yeah, against OKC. He got in foul trouble. It was the second of a back-to-back, so I'm assuming you're looking to limit minutes here, even though he only played 23 the game before. You look at that game against OKC, though. It doesn't look like a blowout, but the Nuggets had firm control of that game throughout. I watched it almost in its entirety. They were leading by 25, midway through or at the start of the second half, and they never relinquished more than like a 10-point lead. So hardly something to write off there. And he still took 20 shots in 27 minutes. It just wasn't one of Jokic's efficient games. I think the early foul trouble threw him off kilter. Now you get him against the Lakers. I'm a fan of JaVale McGee from a fantasy standpoint when he's getting the run, but he does absolutely nothing to scare you off of opposing centers. The Lakers have hemorrhaged points to big men this year. Second highest efficiency allowed to the position. No surprise. They're allowing, I think, the third most rebounds, fourth most points. You can go down the list. They're getting crushed in all of those categories. And as you also mentioned, I think pace. They're playing at the fourth fastest pace in the league. You want to talk about a crazy pace differential here. 98 possessions per 48 for the Nuggets, 104 for the Lakers. So everything about this spot screams play me for Jokic, who's a great facilitator and can rack up points in bunches when he's being aggressive.
Chat's making me want to jump off the top of my house. I love the Nuggets. I just want to talk Nuggets now. Jokic isn't the only guy that I'm loving, though.
Yeah.
Give me some Jamal Murray, like, in abundance.
Yeah. Also, Gary Harris, hopefully able to play, according to Malone, but that doesn't mean dick. So that's something we'll keep a close watch on. Maybe you'll get some value there.
I hope he doesn't play.
I mean, you realize Torrey Craig played 36 minutes last game, and he's still the dead min on DraftKings.
I mean, he'll be very, very, very playable if Gary Harris is out.
I mean, he's going to be huge chalk, but at dead min, literally, you never get guys at the dead min on DraftKings anymore.
No,
you just. He's actually averaging almost 8 rebounds per 36 this year, which is wildly impressive for a guy at his position and of his talent level.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fire up Torrey Craig if Gary Harris is out. He won't play a second if Gary Harris is in, so It is very, very much a if in then no go, but it's a good spot though for Torrey Craig. I mean, anything against the Lakers is a good spot.
For sure. What's interesting about this spot is I thought Malik Beasley would get the lion's share of minutes that were left from Gary Harris, because he was at least playing around 15 minutes a game prior to Gary Harris going down. But Torrey Craig, who is playing 4 or 5 minutes a game, comes in and plays 36. So it may have just been that Malone liked what he was seeing. He's rebounding well, was breaking up passes, blocked a couple shots. But after playing that many minutes, you pretty much have to go back to the well if Harris is out. And I agree with you on Murray, by the way. I like him even more if Harris is out too, because Craig is going to shoot like 10 fewer times than Harris would. So you're still freeing up a few opportunities there. And Murray's just logging huge minutes. He's below 7K. I'm with you.
I do like Harris on DraftKings at 5,600 if he's in. I feel like he'll be kind of avoided, I guess, and he probably shouldn't be. Feels like a pretty nice spot if we know that he's like starting like normal.
Especially given he's locked into 36 minutes in close games. I have no problem with Harris at that price point. He doesn't ever get me excited because he's pretty low. His range of outcomes is pretty underwhelming from a fan standpoint. But at that price, you can roll the dice, and there's not much of an issue there for sure. But I wouldn't mind him being out either, because then it gives me a 3K guy. Sure, he's going to be in a lot of line. I may take a chance on some Beasley if Harris is out. I think that would make sense, right? If you're throwing in 150, hell, if you're throwing in 30 lineups, 20 lineups, you might want to consider getting some Beasley in there, because Torrey Craig, this may have been the result of him just playing good basketball and staying in there. I don't think it's out of the. I don't think there's definitely a non-zero chance that Craig only plays 18 minutes and Beasley plays 30 here if Harris is out.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I would cycle them both if I were playing on DK at the minimum, or FanDuel, same sort of story. Do you like anything else from Denver? Hernan Gomez, 4,800, tickle your fancy at all?
Millsap's been a little better lately. I think I'd sprinkle him in, but I don't have a ton of interest there. Who'd you say, Hernan Gomez?
Yeah.
He's definitely been a little bit better. 4,800. 4,800's fine. You're getting the minutes are important here. So as long as you're getting the minutes, you have the opportunity to fall into a big game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Hernan Gomez has done on several occasions recently. So I don't hate him. He's one of those guys that if he shows up, pops up like 15% of lineups, I'm not going to actively try and get him out of those lineups.
Want to take a look at LA?
Let's do it.
LBJ, 11.
Oh, wait. Before we do, what are you, in terms of Nikola Jokic? You said he hit your cap, right?
Yep.
What's your cap?
67.
67. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to see what I got. 75% of him with no caps on my first run. 100% Murray. Obviously set no cap at all. So yeah, but I think we're both on the same page in this one.
I got everything for center went to Jokic, Drummond, and Bam for me.
Okay, I got some Cantor as well.
Yeah, I probably need to give Cantor more minutes. It's just crazy nerves about the Knicks.
Amen.
11-2 for LeBron on FanDuel, 10-9 on DK. I mean, it's basically just, do you think paying the freight for LeBron James is worth it? I would say yes. I like him. There's not a ton to work with at small forward today. I would rather have 11-2 LeBron than 10K Kawhi on FanDuel. And then after that, I'm dropping down to like Josh Richardson at 79, which is less appealing. So I'm more than happy on FanDuel to pay up for LeBron. Is he a guy that you're paying up for here?
I think you can definitely do so, because as you mentioned, Kawhi is not that much cheaper than him. Even on DraftKings, yeah, you got a $1,500 discount, but Kawhi Leonard's, I don't know. Yeah, what are you really expecting from Kawhi in this game? If he gives you 50 against Memphis, you'd probably be happy, and I'm not trying to get 50 fantasy points from. I'd rather go to LeBron and hope for that 75-point game. It's a pace down spot for the Lakers, no question,
Yeah.
but yeah, LeBron being the only guy on this slate, I guess the question is, you know, how much LeBron are you okay with not having? Because the way I see it right now is we talked about Jokic. Let me stick with DraftKings for a second where you can play 2 centers.
Sure.
We talked about Jokic. We talked about Drummond, both of whom are in really good spots. Jamal Murray's around 7K. Um, I, how much LeBron can you actually feasibly get to with those guys? My guess is I'll probably have like 30%, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, he's projecting for 24% on DK. I think it's the perfect time to just match the field.
Right. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because, 55 from LeBron on this slate, even on this 5-game slate, 55 from LeBron, if you don't have him, that is certainly not going to hurt you. So,
yeah.
And I think that's definitely a possibility here.
What have you been doing with Lonzo now that Rondo is out? Because I get him just overwhelmingly every single night, and I don't know how to stop it. And now he's still at 5,600 on DK. I'm a big Lonzo fan.
I'm not even kidding. I just limit him to like 5%. I'm not even. I get it that there's the general consensus. He's too cheap. He's this. He's that. I just don't really have much interest. I know that Rondo's out, okay, but you still have LeBron James, and that makes a big difference because last year where you didn't have any guy that, like, was just the primary ball handler outside of Lonzo, it's different. Like, Lonzo Ball is averaging 6.9 potential assists this year. 6.9 potential assists per game. Last year, 13.2.
Wow.
Massive difference.
Do you have those numbers on like a per possession basis or per minute basis?
Hold on. No, only per game. But
because I assume he's playing, 8 less minutes a game or something along those lines.
Well, I mean, I could give you, I could do a per 36 for you.
You have per 36?
I could just do it real quick. I mean, you look at I could do it. You talk for a second. I'll do the math real quick and I'll pull it up for you.
I'm pulling him up on Basketball Reference right now just to see what he's doing differently on a game by game basis. So, okay, so he's playing like 7 minutes less a game, but still, that's not making up for half of the potential assists. So it's definitely a pretty big step down. Not that that's terribly shocking. I'm sure he has the ball significantly less as well on a per possession basis. Like, I'm sure his touches have gone down on a per minute basis, just having LeBron on the floor.
So last year, 13.9 per 36.
Mm-hmm.
This year, 9.2 per 36.
Yeah, see, there you go. That's aggressive.
It's still a decent difference.
Yeah, well, very. Now, yeah, it was clearly going to be a big chunk, but he's got a way different role now too. That's not good. That's not good. He needs to get out of there.
Yeah, if you were to look at it, let's see. Maybe it improves since Rondo's been off the court. Let's take a look. 7. Nope, not that. See, that's what. So this is even crazier, right? Where'd my damn phone go? I dropped it on the ground.
I think you'll be okay.
Here it is.
We're good?
Yeah. Check this out. So he's playing 30 minutes per game since Rondo went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes per game since Rondo went down, with 8.4 per 36. His potential assists have actually gone down over the last 5 games. Since a small sample, I get it, but that doesn't matter. You should still see with ball handlers, you should still see an immediate impact, right? when a guy like Rondo goes down. You should see an immediate impact at least through a couple games. And it looks like, I'll say 8.4 to 9.3. Let's just say, I won't say it went down or it should stay down, but it is definitely not gone up. And we would have seen an immediate impact here.
Right.
We haven't.
Right. Gary and JJ talk SEC, Bama, and LSU says nobody can put up a good reason not to play T.Y. Hilton. I'm not sure that this person knows what's going on right now.
That's great.
Anyway, back to basketball, which is the topic of this show. Okay, so you won't have much Lonzo. I don't blame you in the slightest.
T.Y. whispering, but that's someone else. So I don't know who that is. Oh, by the way, Lonzo.
What do you want from LA then?
Lonzo 54 touches per game this year, 81 per game last year.
There you go. Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
right. Like, to act like LeBron has not made a massive difference. Even since Rondo's been out this year, 80 touches a game for LeBron, 58 for Lonzo, and he's not a good shooter. So you want to keep running him out there, that's fine, but just understand that LeBron is taking away so much of the opportunity he had last year. I don't have a lot of interest in the Lakers. I just don't. If it's not LeBron, Ingram's cheap enough now where I might sprinkle him in on a 5-game slate, right? Like maybe Kyle Kuzma because they're cheap, but it's not because I love them. That's kind of what it comes down to. And McGee's 5,400.
Yeah.
So other than LeBron, actually, I think my favorite play here would be McGee, but center's deep enough to where it's kind of tough. But if he gets 27 minutes or so here, then McGee could give you a big game just based on his block totals alone. But that's it. Do you have anyone you love from this team?
Nope, just LeBron. Close it out. Phoenix Suns, Indiana Pacers. Suns 106 implied total, Pacers 108.5. We already know that Victor Oladipo is out, so we don't have to do that dance. I'm assuming Sabonis and Turner play. They've been on the fence for the past 2 or 3 games, so keep an eye on it, I guess. But we'll start with Phoenix. The guy that I'm getting the most of is TJ Warren. 6,800 on FanDuel, 6,100 on DraftKings. He's a guy that I'm definitely going to be using a lot. If we get any news that we get point book here, I'll have a ton of Booker. I'll still have some 8,500 on FanDuel, 8,600 on DK. Outside of that, I'm not super interested in anything. Trevor Ariza is $500 cheaper on FanDuel than DraftKings, so I like him as a potential value play, but he's still Trevor Ariza, so I rarely get super excited. It's all just Booker and Warren for me.
Do we know why Warren's minutes went down so dramatically last game?
I do not, but
15 minutes last game, and he played 30. He was playing 37 to 40 minutes a game for 5 straight, and he played 33 against Chicago, 31 against Milwaukee. I think that was a foul trouble game. I'd have to look at it, and then 15 against Detroit.
Oh, I think he got the gate. Yeah, he got ejected in the second quarter.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I remember getting that alert too. Yeah, he got tossed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm not sweating the minutes there. Warren isn't the most demonstrable player, but whatever he said to the refs wasn't appreciated, and he got the quick hook.
Is that what it said?
Yeah.
Huh. That's funny because usually they would say it in the notes. I got nothing. But okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's good to know because otherwise I'd be a little concerned since his minutes were trending downwards a little bit anyway. But yeah, that makes me feel quite a bit better. So he was on pace to play. God, he was going to play 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, he was going to play another 19 minutes in the first half.
Yeah, he's I don't think we have anything to worry about there. Especially in this game, 2.5 point line, no Oladipo. The Suns are legitimately in this spot. So if that game wants to stay close, I assume TJ Warren's playing big minutes. Otherwise, it's Josh Jackson out there, and they're probably going to get it handed to them.
Yeah, Warren is a very good play, just based on the minutes alone. per minute wise, he's not going to give you outstanding numbers. But if you're back to 38 minutes or so, then I'm all about it. Plus, Indiana playing their second of a back-to-back on the road. I think it's important to point out that they're only 2.5-point favorites here. They blew the doors off Utah in Utah last night.
Craziness.
But you've got a back-to-back on the West Coast going from Utah to Phoenix. I think they come out a little bit sloppy in this game, and this could be one that stays competitive. So I'm with you on Warren and Booker. I always have interest in him in tournaments because he's just someone that can go off, right? He can give you 50 real points. He's a stud, but I'm not prioritizing him.
I like him with Oladipo out here. It just makes his life a little bit easier. I assume you would have been seeing a pretty healthy dose of him because it's not going to be Darren Collison that's keeping Book in check. So
no, but I do think he'll see a good amount of Corey Joseph.
Yeah, that's not great.
Right. It's not, but then at the same time, it's like, all right, he's also going to see quite a bit of Tyreek Evans.
I was just going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Right. So I think they cancel each other out.
Yeah. I mean, Booker's the perfect guy where you would never care that you got him.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's two. He's like the better version of Tim Hardaway. Like,
yeah. Although in my initial crunch, I don't think I got any of it without making any tweaks yet.
8,600 on DK isn't the best price point. He's $100 cheaper on FanDuel.
He's been underpriced on FanDuel for a while now. Like, he's just now over 8K on FanDuel. He was 7,900 forever on there, despite big numbers. So yeah, I agree. FanDuel is definitely a lot more palatable.
You want any Ayton 7,300 FanDuel, 71 on DK?
I just don't. I've been happy to target him when his price is down, but I think this is more appropriate pricing and not on a night where you have Jokic and I think I'm going to be getting up to Jokic or Drummond here.
Yeah, I just don't see I don't see the price point as particularly viable.
I'm not in love with Ayton here.
No. He's fine. Like, he put up 49 fantasy points in his last game. That's a really nice outing. Now
Ayton has a lot of upside. He has a lot of upside because he's got great court vision, great basketball IQ for his age. He looks a lot older than his age, though. Pull up his headshot. Tell me he doesn't look like he's a grizzled vet.
No, he's 35.
All right, look at the headshot. Just go to DraftKings. You got to pull this up. I mean, he really looks like he's been playing alongside Al Jefferson for years.
He does look like shockingly old. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It's crazy.
God, he was in high school like 18 months ago.
Yeah. I know. It's wild.
Can you imagine him talking to girls?
Yeah.
Talking to like another 17-year-old girl 18 months ago. She's 5'2", 110 pounds. He's 6'11", 240 or whatever he weighs. Just
looks like he's 43.
Chiseled out of granite. He's not even 21. He can't even drink a beer. That man has been able to buy beer for a decade.
He looks well older than you and myself
combined.
Right. Yeah, he was buying cigarettes in 4th grade.
Seriously, how long do you think it's been? Like, if he was just going into random places, I'd say that he's been able to buy beer for at a minimum 5 years.
Well, also given his status in the community, I would guess, that's DeAndre Ayton, going to be a number 1 overall pick.
Ignore that. It's not like
okay.
It's not like James Vanderbeek becoming the starting quarterback and then getting served.
Well, to be fair, yeah.
Like, no one's thinking, oh, that kid's 15. He's 6'9".
Wait, what'd you say? Become a quarterback and what?
Vanderbeek gets beers in Varsity Blues once he becomes the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I thought you said a different movie title.
Ayton doesn't need the status for that. He was probably like a 6'10", 15-year-old kid.
Exactly. Although Varsity Blues was a stupendous movie.
Oh, fantastic. Probably my favorite sports movie ever.
Yeah. The whipped cream bikini.
She should have blew up for that. Allie Larder, where you at, girl?
I was actually just looking her up right now.
I'm sure she's still a
no,
dime.
I was looking up Billy Bob. Remember Billy Bob?
He's dead.
Because he died. And the crazy thing is,
he died
he
skinny.
lost so much weight. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Remember seeing that news a couple of years ago, and I felt legitimate sadness.
Me too,
man. For losing Billy Bob.
Allie Larder is a dime.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For a second, I thought we lost. I thought we lost the fat boy from Boy Meets World, Tuna from Blow. You remember Tuna from Blow? Because he lost a ton of weight too. He lost a ton of weight too. He was a meaty fella, and now he's dropped, like, no joke, several hundred pounds. They all go on to lose the weight.
Allie Larder married? She is. That's too bad.
Yeah.
40. She's 42.
She might have had a chance.
I don't. I have no shot.
No?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm a real unappealing person.
I forgot Amy Smart was also in that. I might have to go back and watch that one day.
I can't look at her anymore. She
no?
Yeah, so she, in one of the like weird scenes in Butterfly Effect, she's like a really big prostitute drug addict, and she looks awful, and I can't ever get that picture out of my head, even when I see her like done up well.
Interesting.
Yeah, she's super, super broken in that movie, and
that's a wild movie.
I can say she's a dime when she's married. I'll just put her on the list.
Like, wow,
like Rose Byrne,
Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
There you go.
That is one, man.
Right, let's finish off the Pacers and get out of here.
I don't really have any interest in them. That's why I didn't mind talking about Varsity Blues for a second. You remember as a kid it was Varsity Boobs. You're from PA. Yeah. What am I doing? What am I doing here? Like, Corey Joseph, when he was 3,800, I had no problem with it because you knew you were getting at least 20 fantasy points from a game. Darren Collison, I think, is fine, but he's another one of those guys that he's so volatile. It doesn't matter the good matchup or bad. He can just completely shit the bed. Like, yeah, this is an incredible matchup against the Suns, and yet I'm still uninterested. The one guy I'll throw out there at you, and I guess maybe we'll talk about Miles Turner here because I probably wrote him off quicker than I should have. But I'm asking you, does this game stay close? And does Tyreek Evans finally get more than like 23 minutes? Do we finally get the minutes from Tyreek Evans? Because last game, he was on pace. You ready for this? He was on pace to play about 30 minutes, and then he never came back in because it was a massive blowout in the fourth quarter. It feels like every damn game you can't get the minutes from this guy. Maybe on this 5-gamer, Josh, I think I'm finally going to say, yeah, fine. I've been playing him all the time. What am I talking about? I'm going to go back to the well with Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. I'd rather play Tyreek Hill, but I like it here. It's the Suns.
Yep.
And if anybody's going to love jacking up shots against the Suns, it's probably Tyreek Evans. He just needs to be able to get hot enough early so that he can stay on late.
Yeah, but it can't be a blowout. Every damn game they play in is a blowout.
I mean, you would think this stays close, but I also wouldn't have expected them to put a thumping on Utah.
I know. In Utah, Tyreek Evans against the Spurs. Here's another one. He never came back in the fourth quarter. Never. He played what? 5 minutes in the second quarter. They were up by 20 points. They never relinquished much of a lead. He never returned. Look at all of his games. It's really crazy. He shot 1 for 12 that game. I'm sure that had something to do with it, but
he's just going to put up a 50 burger soon. It's coming.
He has to. We've seen him do it so many times. It's not like Tyreek Hill it's not like Tyreek Evans is 100 years old.
You're as bad as me, man.
I know.
Last year, Russell Wilson instead of Russell Westbrook every single day.
Every time.
Couldn't shake it.
He's only 29.
God, that's
He's not that
crazy
old.
to think about.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's been in the league since 2009, I get it, but he's not that Tyreke Evans is not that old. He's
No,
29 years old. Shit, how old's Kevin Durant?
less than that.
30.
Yeah.
He's 30.
Is he
Right.
30? I thought he was
Yeah.
29. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I'll have some Thad Young, 4,800 on FanDuel.
That'll end well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but with Oladipo out, I don't mind taking a look that way, especially against the Suns. It's not that I'm thrilled about it, but 5-gamer. It's just it's hard to like anything really from Indiana. Everybody's priced kind of appropriately. Like, I guess Sabonis. I don't know. Miles Turner for 5,500 on DK is kind of appealing, but I'd rather get my stuff in on the games with higher totals and better pace.
Yeah, and if I'm targeting just the matchup, the Phoenix, because they're terrible, the Phoenix Suns, it would be Tyreke Evans.
Okay.
Only because I think he gets vastly overlooked. But Phoenix is playing way down in pace this year compared to the rest of the league or most of the league. They're 18th in pace. So it's not like seasons before this where they were playing it. They last year they played at the second fastest pace in the league, which made a big difference because they were terrible. But now they're playing down in pace a little bit, and it makes a bit of a difference. So I still obviously have some interest in Evans, but only because he's been so bad and there've been so many blowouts that I have to go back there, whether I want to or not.
Hour and 40 minutes, 5-gamer. You can't beat this kind of content.
No.
Hey, you were right. We're getting out of there right at 11 o'clock.
Yep, look at that.
You have anything else you want to touch on?
No, I don't think there's anything left.
All right.
I don't think if I wanted to.
Deep dive coming from Adam in the early afternoon. Deeper dive coming at 5 o'clock today. And then 6 p.m. tonight, myself, Chris Spags, reunited for an NBA Live Before Lock show on this lovely, lovely 5-gamer for Tuesday. Cyber Year promo code. 12 months for the price of 10. This is your last shot, everybody. It is dead tonight at midnight. So, if you're looking to do it, Cyber Year is the promo code. 12 months for the price of 10. That's it. That's all I got. Come join us in Slack today. Man, we'll hang out and talk basketball. Or, we'll talk football accidentally. Tyreek Hill. That's all I got, man. You ready? Let's get out of here.
Let's do it.
All right. Best of luck, everybody. We'll talk to you later.